Well, maybe you can say a little bit more about your process because it's remarkable to encounter a musician, a composer who values their experiences in the alternative reality. Like your dream states are valuable to you. And I know it's common in creativity, all manner of inspiration comes to the artist, right? In your case, you followed it quite faithfully. You listen to your dreams. It reminds me of what David Paladin in the book Painting the Dream had spoken. Chagall, who he had studied with briefly, suggested to David that he had such a rich history in his Native American lore, he could simply rely on painting his dreams. What if he were to
Right.
turn inward? You quite in a quite dramatic way have been committed to that inward journey, turning inward and allowing the music to come from that place. I think that's rather remarkable. So wonder if you could
Well,
talk about that.
thank you. But um, there's one piece actually that you know about that wasn't an inward journey or wasn't, and it only took me 3 days to write it or something.
Mm.
So it's different. Each project has sort of a different. Uh, the piece I'm thinking about is the Souvenirs de Bienne, which thinking about is the Souvenirs de Bienne, which is the little 5-minute piano piece for violette. Um, but that piece is in kind of old style, and so I wasn't inventing anything. I was just trying to write something that Violette would like. So that one was just I actually wrote it on the airplane coming back from Switzerland and in the airports because I had music paper with me, so I was scribbling the whole time. But the pieces that are more, but you're absolutely right about the pieces that are more complicated or more involved. All of those have some sort of spirit connection with them. Oh, did you want me to? Now I'm lost. What should I tell
No,
you?
I'm thinking about, and you're right, and I love Souvenir de Bienne. I'm thinking about, and you're right, and I love Souvenir de Bienne. That is such an elegant piece, and to hear your method of composing that was quite different. But Sonata Chetlahe, for example, came the work with Paladin came to you from your dream state, and you've been kind of faithful to following that. So I think that makes you rather unique. There I'm sure there are other musicians, although I can't name them, who will rely on that source in addition to their other methods of composition. So I was curious about that for you.
Well, I can name one other one that I know of. I'm sure there are more, but I know one other one. Um, and it's not with dreams, I don't think, but Stravinsky, who I was absolutely, I still love him. I love, when I was a kid, I loved Stravinsky, mostly because it pissed all of my relatives off. And I would put it on really loud because I wanted to hear him yell. That was exciting. But uh, Stravinsky said to somebody, I think that A Rite of Spring was given to him. Um, and I don't know if it was a dream or if he was doodling on the paper and all of a sudden, ding, the light bulbs went off and he got it. But that was what I heard about that piece, that was given to him. And that's an amazing piece. And boy, did people, do you know the story? What happened with that?
Oh, there were protests and
Oh my God, you're my hero.
yeah,
Yes. Well, and
quite revolutionary.
well, I think it was 1913, and do you know what
Walked out.
Stravinsky had to do to keep from being beaten up or what? Do you know what he did?
No.
He crawled out the bathroom window, I think.
Oh wow.
This was in Paris, and people were like really
They're
pissed
really
off.
angry. Yeah.
So yeah. So he climbed out the bathroom window and thought, "F this, I'm going for coffee or whatever." And he just took off. He just got the F out of there. And um, so uh, in talking with Kurt, and I don't know if I should mention, anyway, I'll just leave it at Kurt, my friend Kurt. Um, uh, Kurt always says, if I write something and people are really pissed off, that's a great sign. He says, you're really onto something if they're angry. And I said, well, this stuff must be really good then because they're very angry. And so he says, that's great. I don't know. I can't tell. I mean, there's so many kinds of music and everybody likes something different, and that's the way it should be.
Right.
And who knows?
Yeah.
But I love music and I like working on stuff. So
Yeah. So we're just trying to follow your journey and some pieces that you're fond of that you want to tell us a little bit about the story behind the piece. Are there other pieces that come to mind?
you want me to pick other ones that people
Yeah.
were pissed about?
Sure.
Okay. The next probably I'm looking at one that no one's mad about because no one's done it yet, but its time will come. I don't have much music actually because I just feel like I want to mention. I think it's strange for and because I have the piece picked out, but I just want to say I think it's strange for musicians to think of how can Mark think he's a composer now? He used to play violin for years and years and years. But what people don't understand is I was writing from the time I was 5, but all of that music from the time of 5 years old up to into my 20s, it's all thrown away because it was terrible. It was really, I'm not being modest. It was absolutely terrible, and there wasn't any reason for anybody to play it. And I knew it right after I wrote it. I just knew I had to keep working. So the composition isn't something after I got sick that I started doing. Composition was through my whole life. Violin was really more of a partial sort of thing. Anyway, the next piece I wanted to mention was those innocent little Schumann pieces.
Ich bin ein Leske Geselle, wer kennt auf Erden fröhliche sein, ein Ross und so helle, das trägt mich mit Winde schnelle, ins blühende Leben hinein, trara, ins Leben hinein. Es tönt an meinem Munde ein silbernes Horn von süßem Schall, es tönt voll manches Stunde, vom Fels und Wald ein Rinde, antwortet dir Widerhall daran, der Widerhall. Und kommt zu festlichen Tänzen, zu Scherz und Spiel im sonnigen Wald, wo schmachtigen Augen mir glänzen und Blumen den Becher bekränzen. Da schwing ich vom Ross Michels Bald, da schwing ich vom Ross Michels Bald.
Well, you like them, and there's several people that do like them, but I got screamed at, I mean, in at least one situation by I mean they're not popular with always with musicians. Some musicians like them, but there's other musicians that want to kill me dead because they worship old composers. And old composers, Brian, there are these things in boxes called rules, and you should always play someone's music a certain way. And if you ever play it some other way or do anything else with it, you deserve to die. I mean, it's just their classical musicians get very apoplectic about, and so when I was asked to by someone at Yale to do a transcription of 6 Schumann Lieder, but I think that poor innocent person, I feel sorry for him. I think he thought what he was asking me was put some papas in the viola or the French horn, and then we'll play it, but and then you'll just take all the nice little notes out of Schumann's score and you'll steal a few and give them to the horn, toot now and then, toot, and then I looked at it like, oh, I'm going to mess around with this. And so I took the score apart. I looked at what I could take out of the piano part and turn it into something else. I listened for what seemed to go on in my mind that I could just add on for a whole nother line or have little descant things going on. Especially in Requiem, I have the viola doing all kinds of stuff. Have the viola doing all kinds of stuff. I made up my mind that in Requiem, it was the viola player who saw God. And that's a joke. That's an old viola joke that, the viola player looks up and, oh my God, there's a conductor, and they freak out. It's a long story. But anyway, so I wanted the viola player to just go nuts in there. And so there's a lot of stuff that when the recording happened that you can hear the group that played it weren't really sure they wanted to do it because I think they were worried about assassination or because I was doing something that one must not do. So that's one of those things in classical music that you can't, that's a forbidden. And I just kind of thought, oh, the F with a forbidden thing. I don't care. A lot of what I do with classical music is like that. I don't care if anybody's upset. If I feel like it's fun, I'm going to play with it. Screw it.
Yeah.
So I played with it. And I still like those things. And some people do. And I'm sure that some people might like it unless they compare it side by side with Schumann. And then they might think, oh my God, who does this guy think he is? But if, that's fine. If they don't want to do them, don't do them. I was even told, those are from 1991. I was even told at that period that I had ruined Schumann, and I thought that was amazing because I felt so powerful. Like, wow,
Wow, you
ruined Schumann. He's one of my favorite composers, and I ruined him. But what I said to the person who said I ruined him is, look, bitch, you can play, you can go back and play the real Schumann anytime you want. You don't have to play my piece. Just don't play it. And so that's what I still say to anybody who gets upset. And there have been since that point a couple people that have been upset. Just close your eyes, forget it exists. The other one was a Schubert piece that I don't know. I've never been happy with it. I might go back and keep working on it. But that was one in one of its previous incarnations. It was played in Spain, and one of the violin players held up his bow and said, "Why are we doing this?" And the conductor said, "Excuse me?" And the violin player said, "I mean to say, this is bad." I thought maybe he was gonna call for a strike with the orchestra or something. But that was another case where someone knew the piece and they wanted to stick up for Schubert. Because here Schubert was, the poor guy got syphilis and then he died. And what was Mark doing? He was screwing around with his music. Mark deserves to be beaten up. So, and again, I don't care. I I don't hate the music. I love the music, but what I wanted to do with Schubert and Schumann is make Schumann a great trio instead of a great duo. To make it a great trio, I had to do something with
Pick
it.
it up a little bit.
Yeah, mix it up. And with Schubert, it's a solo piano piece. And oh my God, if you just take a solo piano piece and then try to turn it into a piece for string orchestra, but you don't add any notes, do you realize what kind of like S that's just
Yeah.
terrible. So
Yeah.
anyway.
So you're kind of a badass of the music world. I think you shake things up in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah, shake things up in a good way. Is there something you want when people listen to your pieces? They might need a little bit of preparation or not. But would you like us, like we're accustomed to a kind of tonality with Western music, Western classical music. Maybe there are some words of wisdom to prepare us to listen to one of your pieces so we can really open up to it, free our minds a little bit. What might you offer if you were to?
The very first thing when you said preparation, I thought, what kind of preparation? You know where I won't
Yes.
go too far. So I would say maybe a big blank statement might be get a drink and sit down, anything could happen. Maybe I think tonality and what came after tonality, like 12 tone music, is all the same thing. It's composers up through the starting even before Bach. There was a guy, do you know about Gesualdo?
No.
Okay. There was a guy called Gesualdo, and I don't remember if he's one of the dudes that like murdered his wife or something. Like he was like this, and I don't even know what years he lived. I just love his music though. It's like 1400s, 1500s. This Gesualdo dude was like, thought to be completely nuts, and he would write these pieces, and it was like a lot of choral music that I listened to in college. And I don't remember in music theory how they would talk about him. I thought it was fabulous. Like the voices were singing along in this sort of old kind of, Monteverdi-ish kind of stuff that's going on. And all of a sudden, these weird ass notes just pop up, and I thought, oh, yes, like I loved it. I thought it was fabulous, and so there were composers that did crazy stuff a long time ago. But what happens is they're just disenfranchised. You don't want, oh my God, don't sing oh my God, don't sing Gesualdo. He's evil, he's forbidden. We should not be, There's always suppression that's going on. Another guy that's more recent is Charles Ives. My God, don't sing Charles Ives. Don't play Schoenberg. Don't play Berg. Don't play Weber. And there's lots of people don't. But so when I'm working on music, I try to always look at it two different ways. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at my list, and I think I've done this every single time, actually, even with Schumann and Schubert. Even with Schumann and Schubert, I look at things and I analyze things as I work on stuff in terms of tonal music, and then I always look at the sketches in terms of what opportunities are there in this score for atonality to rear its ugly forbidden head. And so I kind of put those two worlds always together in some way. And sometimes Souvenirs de Bienne, of course, that one is a lot more tonal, and there's almost nothing in there that's naughty. But then when you get to pieces like the Chet LaHaye pieces, those are mostly all naughty. But then we're dealing with David Paladin, and David Paladin is naughty. So that's where I can be more myself. Um, Schumann, I was naughty very well. That's a, eh, I won't beat a dead horse. Okay, so anyway, I'm always looking at things two different ways. And I really, really like doing that because it encourages me to look at music like a puzzle, like a Rubik's Cube. Like I'm trying to put it together, but what's the right way? Like if I'm making pancakes, should I stir in some chocolate syrup or just put in the milk like I'm supposed to? Um, and many times I'll go back and change my mind over and over again about what the chordal stuff is like, what the harmonic materials are like, or maybe what's happening in terms of form, um, to try to change things around to make it better than it was before. It takes a lot of experimentation before I'm done, and I think, okay, I don't think I could screw around with this anymore, and it could get any better. I just might as well stop.